Okay, so we're recording now. Let's officially get started. Welcome, Ali, to the class. So I have 4 of you out of 6, which is pretty good. So let's get started with the D2L and kind of how this course will work. I'll share my screen here. So you guys should be able to see my screen. It just says Zoom for right now. And what I'll do is I will open our D2L and kind of go through the Math 1700 course outline. I'll, of course, introduce myself in a minute. I'll let you know how to contact me. So if this is your first semester, welcome. If this is not your first semester, you probably know a little bit about how to use D2L and Zoom. If you guys have any problems with Zoom, D2L, or anything like that, you can send me an email. Basically how D2L works is you go to this address at the top of the page here. So d2l.cnaqatar.edu.qa, and it will bring you to this screen. And then you can choose your course. Now, my screen looks a lot different than your screen. I have like chemistry and SD and all these different courses, but you guys are maths section 2. You can also click on this little menu up at the top and pick your courses. And as you can see, there's a lot of courses that I have. I don't think you guys will have that many, but you can click on 1700 and it will bring you here. So let's start at the bottom. I posted this yesterday. I kind of meant to post this on Thursday, but my schedule changed. So things are moving very fast in intercession. But my name is Mark. You can see my name on the Zoom anyways. So you can just call me Mark. My email address is here. Classes obviously begin today. All of your classes, because of COVID, we're in another lockdown. Who thought, in 2021, in May or end of April, we'd be in another lockdown, but here we are. So classes are online. Basically what I do is maybe 10, 15 minutes before class, I will post the link on D2L. For the first week, because we have, so many new students joining us, I will email you. But after the first week, I won't email you anymore. And your class links will be posted here. So on this news page, you really want to check the news page every day that you have class. I will post the link. I'll go over the course information sheet in a minute. And one thing I'll mention before I do that is all of my lectures, every class will be recorded and every class will be uploaded to YouTube. I do it a little differently than other instructors. I prefer my videos on YouTube than on Zoom. One semester, this time last year, Zoom deleted all of my saved videos. And I got really mad. So I put all my videos on YouTube, which personally I think it's better. So I'll send you guys the link to my YouTube, maybe tomorrow or the next day once I have a recording. Another thing, excuse me, I want to mention is that for the first few weeks, I think it's 3 weeks, we're following a different schedule because of Ramadan. We're giving you guys extra time in the morning, trying to accommodate for prayer time in the middle of the day. And luckily for math, it doesn't really affect our schedule, except we're starting later, which is probably good depending on how you guys are sleeping. So very important. Let me just write on my screen here. I might turn my video off in a bit because it's hard to write on my screen with the video, but huge, important that you follow this for the first 3 weeks. I think Ramadan ends, middle of May. Let me just check. I have an app here. let's just see. I have an interesting app that I have that kind of tells me, when fasting is over. So mm, there's about 16 to 17 days left of Ramadan. So for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will be following this schedule. When Ramadan ends, there will, of course, be Eid, so you guys get a break, and then we are going to go back to the regular time, okay? But for right now, we're following this. Okay, so all of the classes are moved later. So if you show up early and you're like, where's the link? Where's the Zoom class? You're probably early and you want to go here. Okay. Sorry, this is really boring, but this is a double class because it's intersession. So we do have to do some math today. I do apologize, but there will be some learning today. Okay, so content. This link here that I just clicked on, let me highlight it. Content is where you will find everything, like everything. It's all uploaded. Everything is there already. Let me just kind of go over how this works. So hold on one second. I don't see something. Okay, introduction. Sorry, I usually teach chemistry, so this is the shell, the D2L page is a little bit different than how I do it in chemistry, but that's okay. So we're going to look at these 3 things right now. The first thing is print me. Now, some of you might not have access to a printer. You don't actually physically need to print this. I would recommend it, but it's a lot of pages. It's hundreds of pages. If you have access to a printer, or you can get on campus and print your notes, highly recommend it, but you do not need to print them. It's completely up to you. There are, I think, 4 sets of notes if I click on this link. So there's 4 units in this course, unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Obviously, we'll start with unit 1. It's very big. It's like 130 something pages, but remember, these pages are, a lot of them are practice. They're not like, we're not going to do this whole book. You'll see what I mean in a minute when I show you unit 1. Like, don't get afraid. We're not doing every page. There are, 50, 60 pages in here that are just for you guys to practice. Okay, so very important. This is where our notes come from. Print me right there on the left with the number 1 by it. Okay, number 2. Introduction. This will take me a minute. I'm just going to go through the course outline, or the course information. So there's a few things on this page. Clear my drawing. So I'm here. There's this we're going to look at today. This course outline, this is all of the topics that we're going to do in this course. You can have a look at that. It covers everything we're going to do. There's a formula sheet, which you will get on your tests and your final exam. There's the Math Help Center schedule. This will change. So just hold off on the Math Help Center for now. The reason it changes is because this is a new semester. So that will change in a few days. And then here's your Ramadan schedule. I don't know if you guys have seen the Ramadan schedule. This might be one of your first classes, but the way that this works is everything is shifted. So, normally we start at 7:30 sometimes. It's all been shifted. So like for today, for example, and if you find this confusing, don't worry. When I first saw this a few years ago, I wasn't sure how it worked, but since we're starting 9:30, that means we actually start for Ramadan at 10:40. Since we finish at 11:20, That means we're going to be done today by 12:10. And I I typically won't use the full class. So very, very, very rarely will we take more than an hour and a half maximum. That's maximum. So if this is a 2-hour class for Ramadan, it's a little shorter. And, in a regular class, 1 to 1.5 hours max, because there's only so much math I can take and you can take. Your brain, like, I find after an hour and 15 minutes, my brain starts to like shut down. And in Ramadan, I know you're fasting, you're tired. So we'll try and keep it easy. Okay, sorry. So I got one more thing to show you, and then we actually are going to get started with chapter 1. And there's about 2 topics I want to do today that are really easy. So course information. This is a very important document. This is kind of like your contract with me about this course. Okay, so my name, Mark. You guys sometimes say Mr. Mark, just call me Mark. My email is here. This is the easiest way to get in contact with me. Since we're working or doing school distance, I am not, you can see, I'm working from home. I'm not wearing my shirt and tie. Maybe I should be for the first class, but I'm working from home. I have been vaccinated. I actually get my second shot tomorrow, which is exciting. I don't know if I'm going to feel good, but we'll see what happens. But my phone emails come right to this immediately. So if you guys ever have a question, something's happening, you're sick, you need to quarantine, whatever, send me an email. I get it within minutes, and I usually respond the same day, unless you write me at midnight or 1 in the morning. I'll write you back, so send me an email. And sorry, I should say, if you do write me at 1 in the morning, I'll get back to you the next day. You don't need a textbook for this course. You just need your notes on D2L. So you don't have to buy anything. Everything's on D2L. Now, this is the scary part. It's spring semester, so everything is double. It's twice as, I don't want to say twice as fast. It's twice as much information. So I don't have to rush anything, but everything is double. So instead of an hour a day, it's 2 hours a day. It seems like a lot of math, but this is a really good way. 6-7 weeks, finish math 1700. I'll go easy on you. I think it'll be enjoyable. Just by the way, before I get into the course, if you're wondering a little bit about me, I've been with the College of the North Atlantic for over 10 years. The first few years I worked in Canada at the Canadian campus in Newfoundland. And then I think it was 2013 I came here. So this is I'm into my 8th year. I've typically teach chemistry and math. Most of the time I teach chemistry. And when they need me in math, I teach math. So they needed a math instructor. Don't worry, math is my background, as also chemistry. And between us, I think math is my favorite to teach. So I'm very excited to be in math this semester. So yeah, I've been here 8 years. I mean, I've lived in Alsat, I've lived in Garafa. Now I live in Lucille. So I've been all over the place, and I love this country. So you can tell I've been here 8 years. I haven't left. So yeah, anyways, that's just a little bit about me. I'll get to know you guys a little bit more through the semester, I hope. So the evaluation, big part. You have 2 tests. Now, I'm stressing this because they're worth so much. The tests are worth 40%. And that means if you have 2 tests, they're worth 20% each. I think it's 2 tests. I'll let you know. It's 2 or 3, but I think it's only 2, especially during spring semester. So they're worth a lot. The tests will be done regular on campus, just like you would do a test without COVID. There's only 6 of you, so we will take precautions. We'll wear our masks and we'll socially distance. But as of now, and this is really important, the tests are on campus. This can change depending on COVID. As of now, we're on a second lockdown, but we are allowed to have you guys come to campus for the test. My fear is that Ramadan might spread more cases because families like get together and people, I don't know what's going to happen, but as of now, the tests are on campus. Assignments are online. Okay, so your assignments, you don't have to come to school for those. There'll be a few assignments, roughly, 5 or 6 assignments. Just you can think of the assignments like practice for your tests and your final. And scary, I know, but your final is worth 50%. Huge amount for your final. That is also on campus for now. We'll see. Personally, I really hope by the end of Ramadan, maybe after Eid, everything goes back to, I don't think everything will go perfectly back to normal, but I hope, some things open up a little bit more. We'll see. So important dates, I'm almost done, by the way, and then we'll get started with topic 1. But important dates, very important, May 19th. If you're having trouble, if, everything is not working for you, you think you might need to drop this course, May 19th is the last day. What that means is you can drop the course whenever you want, but after May 19th, your grade gets put on your transcript, your kind of like report card. So if you drop the course before May 19th or on May 19th, it does not go on your transcript. So keep that in mind. If things are catching up with you, you're not doing well, maybe you need to come back another semester, May 19th is the last day you can do that. June 16th is your last day of classes, so we'll be done this whole course by June 16th. Do you guys find it dark out today? I got my window open, but it seems really dark here. Hold on, let me turn on a light. I don't know if that helped. Oh yeah, a little bit. Really dark out today. So just a couple more things and then we're going to get started. What else do we have? Math Help Center, this will change, like I mentioned, because during spring sessions, schedules will change. Course schedule, check out, I'll have this updated on your calendar, and of course, your course schedule is on SharePoint and, when you registered. So if you're not sure, well, you can see your calendar on the news page right now. My office hours, these might change, but as of right now, they're Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at the same time, which I hope stays the same. 11:30 to 1:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is my personal Zoom room. This will be open during those times. If for some reason you go to my office hours and I'm not there, send me an email. All that means is sometimes Zoom times out if I'm not active. So if I don't type or talk to somebody on Zoom, it kicks me out. If I'm not there, you can send me an email, say, hey, I'm looking for you. I can be there in seconds. But it will be typically open during these times. Again, if you don't see me, something, I'm computer shut down, there's a technical issue, but I will be there if you just send me an email. But you don't need to email me. Typically, I will be there. It just means if you don't see me, send me a quick email. I'm going to let you guys read over this yourself. It's basically College of the North Atlantic policies. I'm going to use D2L to communicate with you. We're going to have Zoom every class, just like this. If I assign you any videos, which I don't think I'm going to, but what I do recommend is before class, review the material for this day or the day before. Like, try to keep on top of your material because this is really, really fast. Any assessments, the deadlines, like the tests, the assignments, I'll have them stated clearly in D2L. And at any time, if you have IT issues, like computer issues, contact this email address, the IT help desk. They can help you. If your email or D2L username or password doesn't work, for example, copy this email down, take a screenshot or something, put it in your phone. They can get you back online. Plagiarism, please don't copy from people. Attendance, I am going to take attendance every day. Zoom, this app will record your attendance. So you don't need to, do anything. I know your names. It's just really important that when you log into Zoom, you use a normal, your own name. So like, don't log in as like math fan 17. Use your name. So I have Hoda, Matab, Mona, Ali. Attendance is done. And Zoom keeps a record of that. You don't have to be on time. If you get disconnected, it doesn't matter. I will mark you as attended. As long as when I look at the Zoom list, your name is there, I will mark you as attended. If you have to leave early, if you show up late, I don't care, because all of these videos will be on YouTube. So anything you miss, you can watch later. Medical notes, if you do miss a test or final, very important, get a medical note. If you miss an assignment, we can worry about that later. But if you miss a test or exam, get a medical note, please. That's about it. There's a little important note at the bottom. I'm here to help you. This is going to be a fast semester. If you have problems, talk to me, send me an email, right? Write me in class in the chat. I can help you. That's my job. So if you want a private meeting, one-on-one, you need some help, it has to be on Zoom, but I'm here to help you. So at any time, let me know if you have questions. Okay. Whew. It's only 11:09 and I'm tired already. Okay. Normally, in a normal semester with one class, like an hour per week or whatever, or an hour per class, we would be done now, but this is a double class. So if you guys give me some more time, I am going to start with the first section. There's two topics basically I want to cover today, and they're very straightforward. It's a good introduction. So I'm going to go back to content. I am going to turn my video off in a minute because, again, I'm going to be writing, and I'd like to move my computer in a place where I can write on it. So I will turn my video off for the first part. But we are going to start here. That's another reason I turn my camera off sometimes when I'm writing. I stick my tongue out. So, draw. We're going to start here and here. Okay, Unit 1, course notes. We're going to just go through these notes in order. So there's a few things I personally need to do before I can do this. I need to download these notes onto my computer. So here's your course notes. It's a PDF, a printable document format. It opens in Adobe, which is free. So you guys should be able to open this in your browser if you're using Chrome, Internet, or Microsoft Edge. When I was younger, it was Internet Explorer. I'm an old man now. I just turned 36 in April, so April's like 2nd. So I think about old things like Internet Explorer, but Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Safari, Opera, Firefox, whatever you use should be able to open this. And we're going to start with number systems. Topic 1. I am going to do 2 topics today, but don't worry, they're easy and quick. So I'm just going to pause my video, if I know how. Oops, I typically don't use video all the time. Okay, there we go. Pause it. So you can't see me, or I don't think you can see me. We're going to go through this. Now, I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to download this to my computer. And then I'm going to open it somewhere a little bit differently. There we go. Okay, so new share. You guys should be able to see this screen. It's black, or a black border with the math notes there. And the reason I open it in this is because now I can write on this page. Okay, let me make it a little bigger and we will get started. So, sorry, let me do something a little different. There we go. Page 1 or topic 1. There we go. This lets me write on the page. Okay, so topic 1. I'll make this look a little better next class. I typically use PowerPoint. Sorry, guys. I typically use PowerPoint with my notes, but the math department uses Word documents or printable PDF documents. But I'll work through this in the next day or so and kind of make this look a little bit better. Yeah, okay. Anyways. Okay, sorry, just making sure everything is okay before I start writing. So topic number 1 is called number systems, and we're going to look at the different types of numbers. Now, when you guys think of numbers, you probably think of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. These are numbers. But mathematics has a different way to kind of explain, I shouldn't say explain, but to define the number systems. And you can see it right here. Oh, I didn't know my pen was green. That's all right. We're going to stick with green pen today. Hold on now, I can change this. What color do you guys want? I'm thinking we'll go blue. Yeah, let's go blue. So there's natural numbers. There are integers, rational, real, and complex. Now, between us, this is not really a big deal in the scope, in the entire Math 1700 course, this is not that big of a deal. I would know things like integers and, natural numbers or rational numbers, integers, rational, natural. These are pretty good ones to know, but I am going to define all of them for you. So here we go. Real numbers. These are the set of numbers that include all of almost all of the numbers except what we would call imaginary numbers. So like just thinking in English what those 2 words mean, real and imaginary. They're kind of opposite, right? So, horses are real, unicorns are imaginary, right? I've never seen a unicorn. So horses are real, they exist. Unicorns are imaginary, and then you can kind of separate them from there. Real numbers include a whole set of numbers, basically all of the numbers that you've ever used in a course. Decimals, fractions, whole numbers, negative numbers, zeros, irrational numbers, numbers that have repeating decimal places, like pi or 5/7, I think it'd be a rational number. I'd need my calculator to check this. These are called real numbers. And you can see here that all, like on this slide here, this green box, all of these numbers are included in the set of real numbers. And they give you an example of what each type of these numbers are. I'm going to quickly define what they are with you. Okay, oops, next page. So what are all of these numbers? Natural numbers, these are the numbers that, you know, your young brother or sister, if you guys have kids, or your parents might not be the strongest in math. Natural numbers are the numbers that everybody thinks about. You know, 1, 2. It's like when you count something. If you're counting apples, you're counting people in a classroom, or money even. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 600, 700, 750. They're all natural, you know, numbers that we count with. And this gets a little confusing because whole numbers are very much the same as natural numbers. The only reason, or the only extra thing, is we include 0. So, you know, when you count something, natural numbers, you're counting, you start at 1. Whole numbers does include the concept of 0. And I won't get into this, but the concept of 0 is in math. I mean, 0 is such a really crazy number. People write their, you know, PhD dissertations on 0. So not a big deal, but whole numbers would include all of the counting numbers and 0. Now, integers. Any of you guys in engineering, business even, well, I mean, I guess almost everybody, medical science, IT, business, engineering. I haven't looked at what your programs are yet, but integers are going to be a big part of your program. Integers would include negative numbers. So if you guys are business students, negative numbers typically represent debt, or, you know, a subtraction. You know, you spent 1,000 reals, so negative 1,000. In engineering, in chemistry and physics, you'll be using negative numbers. So any of you guys moving into physics, that would be medical science, or the engineering students, negative vectors you're going to see, like negative numbers there. I think so. I haven't taught physics in a long time, but you will see negative numbers. So integers are all of the whole numbers, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and their negative counterparts, -1, -2, -3. You'll notice so far there are no decimals. Okay, so all of these numbers so far are 1, -1, -50, +50, no decimals. Section, or the next part, and this is, the next two are a little bit more complicated: rational and irrational. Now, I don't know where the word comes from in math. I know in English, if you're being rational, you're kind of thinking, you're being logical. Irrational means you're maybe not thinking. Don't know why it is like this in math, but rational numbers can be written as fractions and decimals. Here's the catch, though, or here's what you really need to remember. There is a very slight difference between rational numbers and irrational numbers. They're both decimal numbers, you know, they both can be written as fractions, but rational numbers will have decimals that terminate. That means they stop, they don't go on forever. So this is something that if you enter on your calculator, the decimal places won't go on forever. They will stop. Another example of rational numbers are decimals that are infinitely repeating. Okay, pi does not count. I don't know if you guys know much about pi. 3.1, what is pi? 3.1315926, something like that. 3.1415926, and it goes on and on and on forever. It's not repeating. But if you see that the number repeats, you know, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are rational numbers. So what's the difference? Irrationals, they just go on forever. A lot of these are square roots. So square root of 5, square root of 7. I made a mistake earlier. I said that they could be written as fractions. They cannot be. So they're typically square roots, or the decimals go on forever. They do not have a terminating or final decimal place. They do not have a repeating decimal pattern. And here's pi here, right? You can't write pi as a fraction. So yeah, there we go. Let's practice. I'm trying to think of how I want to do this semester. I was talking to the math department. So there's a lot of math teachers. There's at least 5 different teachers teaching Math 1700. And all of these teachers have a different way to teach this. I think I'm going to do mine a little mix. Some days I'm going to show you the examples and the solutions, but some days I'm just going to get to the practice section just to, do some practice with you. I think for today, I'll very quickly look at these examples, and then we'll do a very quick practice. And I just need to move into the next section and we're done. I know this is a lot for one day. Hopefully tomorrow it won't be as long. I had to introduce the course, so I do apologize. So just quickly look at this example. Questions 1, 2, 3. This could be a good test question. It says, tell me the number sets that -4 belongs to. Question 2, list the number sets which the square root of 50 belongs to. Now, for number 2, what I would do is put this into my calculator to make sure, it's not, it doesn't work out. And what I mean is, if I tried on my calculator the square root of 4, well, square root of 4 is 2. So that's obviously a natural, a whole number, a rational number. So, for number 2, I'd use my calculator. For number 3, it says circle which numbers are rational. And the answers are here, which is why I'm not going to do them. I'll just show you the answers here. For number one, it asked, where does -4 belong? Well,
Whole number.
Yeah, it's a whole number, exactly. It's natural. It's not natural. It's not whole either. Sorry. Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is not natural and not whole. Sorry, let me erase that -4. What this is an integer because it's negative. And in integers would be included rational numbers, in rational numbers would be included integers, and in real numbers would include rational and integer. Like a good way to think about this is to go down the list. So let me just erase this and show you what I mean by the list. So we have natural, we have whole, we have integer, we have rational, and we have real. Oops, that's real. Looks like a B, it's an R. As you go down the list, they include the thing before it. So what I mean is whole numbers include natural numbers. Integers include these. I know that this number is not natural, it's not whole, but it is an integer. The fact that it's an integer means it's also rational and real. So real includes rational, integers, whole, natural. Rational numbers include integers, whole, natural. So again, you can kind of go down the list to see what they include. If the number is an integer, it then would have to be part of rational and real. Okay, let me clear my writing. Oh, this is a little bit better than PowerPoint sometimes. It says list the number sets to which square root of 50 belongs. Now, what you need to do for number 2 is try this on your calculator. So on my calculator, I have one in front of me. I'm going to enter the square root of 50, and I get 7.07106781, and it just goes on and on. This is not repeating. It doesn't end. This is what we would call irrational numbers. It's still real, but it is irrational. All right. Cool. And then the bottom one, number 3. Number 3 says circle the numbers which are rational. Rational basically include anything that's not irrational. So what this means is you circle anything that has non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. So any number where it ends or the decimal repeats, that's fine. 55, that's like a natural number or a whole number or an integer. These are all fine. This is a fraction. This equals 4, by the way. This is fine. 0 is fine. -4 is fine. The other numbers that are there are all irrational. Oh, sorry, no. This is rational as well. We see repeating decimals. Sorry. So the other numbers that are there are not rational. We would call them irrational. So this one, oh, I shouldn't circle them. Sorry, that's my bad. I shouldn't have circled them. The irrational ones are these. Oops. Okay, sorry, I'm just kind of learning. Again, I typically use PowerPoint. So irrational, irrational, irrational. Again, irrational means when you put it in on your calculator, you get non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. So the decimals go on forever and they do not repeat. All right. Here's another example. I'm going to leave this one for you guys to try. This example here has the answers there. I'm going to let you try this. Let's do this one together. Okay. So now, one thing. This is a book meant for you guys, like a textbook to use as practice. No math teacher, nobody does this whole book together. Basically, what we do in math is we introduce a topic, we do a couple of practice problems, and then move on. So the rest of the practice problems are for you guys to practice. You can think of it like a worksheet. So instead of having course notes and then a separate worksheet, it's all together as one. So again, we are not doing every problem. Some of these are meant for you to practice. And I do have the answer key to this, which I will share with you later. So you guys can practice this and check your answers. So again, I cannot stress this enough. We are not doing everything or every question. I will do 1 or 2 practice problems, and then the rest are for you. So let's take a moment. Let's do this practice problem. Then I'm going to move into one more section. Don't worry, the next section should be pretty easy. And then halas, we are finished. Okay. Check the sets to which each number belongs. So let's start with, let me maybe do A and B, and then I'll give you guys a minute to try maybe a couple of other ones. Okay, so question A, -69. Well, okay, negative. The minute I see negative, I know that this is definitely an integer. Definitely, it's an integer. Negative means it's an integer. That means it cannot be, because the negative's there, it cannot be natural or whole. Natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They cannot have negatives. So this is an integer. Now, the fact that this is an integer means that it's also rational and it's also real. It is not irrational because there are no decimals. Irrational would be something where the decimals go on and on and on forever. Like wink, wink. I think E, for example, is an irrational number. If you go to your calculators, I highly recommend you guys get a calculator or a good calculator app on your phone for now.
Yes.
Yes, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Now, you said that the rational is repeating, but minus
Yes.
69 is not repeating. I don't see the repeating. Yeah.
Okay, great question. So now the key is that it's not repeating or that it's terminal. Sorry, I'm saying that backwards. A rational number is any number. It could just be, a whole number, an integer, or not a natural. But the key is it also has repeating decimals or terminal decimal, which means they stop. And this number stops at 69. So this is definitely a rational number. It's terminal. It's just 69 full stop. What you'll notice with irrational numbers is when you put them in on your calculator, right? When I put this number in on my calculator, I get 4.123105626, and it goes on and on and on forever. Irrational numbers, you'll just see decimals on your calculator that go on forever. That's the difference. Rational, it will stop. Irrational, they go on forever. And they're not repeating. Very important that you remember that. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, no problem. With a bit of practice, guys, this will make a little more sense. Now, before I move on, before I let you guys try a couple, have a look at B. B looks confusing, or B looks scary, right? You see B and you're thinking, okay, it's a square root. That means it's probably irrational. Typically, square roots are irrational, typically. But if you take your calculators, and again, if you don't have a calculator, go get one. You're going to need a calculator for your test and your final. You can use your cell phones in class, but obviously on the test, you're going to need a real calculator. Go get a real calculator right now. Go to Carrefour, go to the bookstore, go get one. If you put in square root of 9 on your calculator, that actually equals 3. Square root, and if you don't know what a square root is, we're going to talk about square roots a little later, but I just put this in on my calculator. 3 is a natural number, a whole number, an integer, a rational number, and a real number. E is also real. All of these numbers are real, by the way. So you could check off real for all of these. We haven't even really talked about imaginary yet. Okay. So guys, I'm just going to clear my writing here. Take a little mental shot of that. And I'm going to give you guys a minute to try some of these. So you guys can try the ones I haven't done, which means, sorry, I'll just fill this out again. I just wanted to get rid of all my crazy writing. Try C, D, F, and G. Just remember something about F with that number pi. But I'm going to stop. I'm going to mute myself. I'll give you a minute or two to try C, D, F, and G. And I'll be back in, 60 seconds. Good luck. Cool. Keep going. And guys, you know, I'll give you another minute, but if you're wrong or if this is confusing, don't forget to practice, right? This math takes a lot of practice, not necessarily studying, but practice, practice, practice. And I'm getting some answers in the chat from Meteb, which is amazing. Hope I'm saying your name correctly. He's done C and D. Is D correct? Yep, D's correct. So just take another minute and finish F and G.
F, irrational.
Yes, in the chat there, I can't see who's speaking, but F is irrational because of the pi. Again, if you guys can't remember, like, you know, some of you might have not done math in like years. So if you can't remember what pi is, just remember if you see pi, pi meaning this Greek symbol here, it's irrational. Pi is irrational. All right, cool. What about G? What do you guys think about G?
I think rational and real number.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. There's your answers. D is rational and real. Actually, if you look, these are all very similar on the bottom. So D is rational. It's not an integer because there's a fraction. All of these are real. And you might be confused, like, what's the point? If all of these are real, why is he making us do it? Well, we're going to talk about imaginary later. Imaginary is not something I would worry about too much. If you're wondering, it's basically when you take the square root of a negative number. There's no real true answer for that, not normally, so we call it imaginary. We'll talk about that later, don't worry. But D is a fraction, so it's rational and real. E is a square root of a crazy number. When you put it in on your calculator, you get decimals forever, irrational. And still real. F, pi, the minute you see pi, irrational, still real. And G, as somebody said out loud in the chat there, I'll get to know your names. There's only a few of you, don't worry. But G, this is terminating decimal, meaning it stops. The decimal stops. 8.75, halas, finished, we're done. That's a rational number. By the way, the reason G is rational is because we can express this as a fraction, which I'm not going to bother to reduce, but 875 over 100 is the fraction. And we can reduce, actually, I guess I could reduce it. I got a calculator. So this is equal to 35 over 4. Because it can be, and we're going to practice this later, don't worry, but because it can be written as a fraction, it's a rational number. All right, so guys, this has been a long class and I'm still not done, but I'm almost done. Normally, like I said, we will not go this long. It is a 2-hour class. Ramadan shortens it to 12:10. But I just have one more quick topic to do and then we're done. You will be finished by maybe in 15 minutes, we should be done. Okay, and I'm very sorry that this is so long. If any of you guys need a break, you can walk away. Remember, this will be on YouTube, so anything you miss, you know, maybe you need to use the restroom, maybe you just need to walk away, take a break for 5 minutes. This will all be on YouTube. So anyways, I'm going to move down to the next section. I highly recommend you practice these, and the answers will be shared. I'm going to actually share the answers now. I'm going to show you where to find the answers. They're actually not shared with you right now, but I'm going to share them. If you want to see the answers to topic 1, it's here. Okay, so print me is where your notes are, but if you go to topic 1, I'm going to move that. If you go to topic 1, the answers to topic 1, everything we're doing now, are here. Now, they're not written they're not workings. It doesn't show you the workings. It just shows you the actual answers. So what I mean is it will show you, the answers, nothing written. All right, let's get into the last topic and we're done. Like I said, give me 15 minutes maximum and we're done. Oh, sorry. I do have one more thing to show you. Imaginary numbers. Sorry. So, imaginary numbers. Imaginary numbers are obviously the opposite of everything we've already done. Imaginary numbers are not real, and really the only thing you need to know, and I wouldn't.
Sir,
Yes.
we cannot see.
Oh, I do this all the time. Sorry. There you go. Thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
If you're wondering, let me just open this up. Thank you for reminding me. I do that all the time.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thanks.
You are welcome.
Here's the examples. Here's the questions we just did. Okay. These pages, this page is for you to practice. Okay. And now I'm moving down into imaginary. Oops, I went too far. Right here. Okay, so I'm on page 7. The stuff I skipped is for you to practice. Okay, imaginary numbers. Don't think too much about this, okay? Like between us, this is not really a big, you're not gonna see a lot of this in Math 1700. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, sorry. You're not gonna see a lot of this in Math 1700. I'm just gonna very quickly give you the definition. Imaginary numbers are quite simply when you take the square root of a negative number. That's it. Okay, so imaginary numbers are when you take the square root of a negative number. So if you ever see, the square root of -6, we would call this imaginary. That's it. That's all you need to know. We're not really going to work much through this. So the square root of a negative number is imaginary. We can talk about the theory why, but it's not really important for Math 1700. The idea is, if I take the square root of 9, this means it's the square root of 3 squared. So the answer is 3. The square root of 9 is saying that if I take 3 times 3, I will get 9. It's the same number. It is impossible to do that with a negative number. You cannot take the same number and multiply it by itself to get a negative number. That breaks the rules of math, which we're going to learn in the next section. Because this is not possible, we call it imaginary. And if you try to do this on some of your calculators, like on my cell phone or on my calculator right now, I have a Casio calculator. It says error. It won't even let me do this. So on a calculator, this says error. The calculator says error, which means imaginary. Complex numbers, don't worry about this now. We're going to talk about this later. Okay, but complex numbers would include imaginary numbers. You can skip this for now. Okay, don't worry about complex numbers for now. We're going to come back to this a little later. We need to talk a little bit more about square roots and things. So we'll come back to complex numbers later. So the illustration of this might look confusing to you, but the illustration of all of this is we start with natural numbers in the middle. In the center, natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whole numbers include natural numbers, but they add a 0. Integers include whole and natural, right? So you can see that these circles are including all of the numbers that they hold. Rational numbers would also include integers, whole numbers, natural numbers. Real numbers include all of this, and then you'll see one little side square here, irrational. Irrational are not related to rational, integers, whole, or natural. They're completely separate. They're still real, but they are not part of the real number system. So let me clear my screen here. I think I hope I'm not confusing you. I guess I'm kind of drawing my arrows the wrong way, right? But these are all related to each other. So natural numbers are whole, integers, and rationals. Whole numbers are integers, rational numbers. Integers, they can also include rational. I'm kind of going out in that direction. Imaginary, this is basically, like I said, when you try to take the square root of a negative number, you can leave it at that. Okay, so that's it. That's our two types of number systems. Real and imaginary. Real includes irrational, rational, integers, whole, and natural.
Excuse me.
Yes.
And now when I see like question like 2, I can see this is natural and whole and rational.
What do you mean question 2, like up here?
No. It's down to book 2.
Topic
You
2.
said that, yeah, you said that the circles,
Sorry?
the topic 2, you said the circles. Oh my God.
I don't understand.
Yes, this one down.
Complex? Or this?
Yes, down.
Yeah?
Down. No, down. Yes, this one.
Yes?
You said that if I see, for example, number -4.
Yep.
I can see this is natural.
No, because natural don't have negatives. Natural are 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you saw, it's not letting me erase my text. Hold on one second. If you saw, let me just erase this. If you see -4, it cannot be in here, but -4 is rational and it is real. So if you see -4, it's an integer, it's rational, and it's real. It cannot be whole or natural. Okay. Let me give you another example. I don't know why it's doing this. I want to clear my text, but it's not letting me do it really nice. Well, I'll use my eraser. If you see, let's take another one from this list. Oh man, I'm sorry about my eraser. Not very clean. But if you see 0, 0 is a whole number. So that means it is an integer, it is rational, and it is a real number. So 0 would be whole, integer, rational, real. But it is not natural because natural does not include 0. You cannot have a 0 in natural. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that was my fault. I didn't explain that as well as I probably should have, but I hope I cleared that up for you guys. Don't worry. This gets a little bit more straightforward soon. We kind of get into like the normal math where it's just, a bit of algebra, X's and Y's, but this is kind of, a conceptual math. There's no numbers, there's no calculating. It's all concepts. Okay. So let's just do one more practice and I will be done in a few minutes. I just want to give you guys a heads up before you leave. I want you guys to kind of, before you leave today, I want you to kind of look ahead, or not before you leave today, sorry. Before you come to class tomorrow, I want you to look ahead at topic 2, order of operations. I don't know if you guys remember that from school, but before class tomorrow, if you have time, or maybe tonight, have a little look at order of operations. This is, you might remember bed mass. Really important topic, pretty easy. But anyways, let's do this one as a practice, and then we'll stop for today. So guys, I'm on page 9. Okay, now this is a pretty tricky question, but let's look at some of these. So I have the square root of 10 over 5. Just making sure I got the right color. So square root of 10 over 5. Well, the minute I see a square root, I start to get a little nervous. Notice that there's no negative here. So it's definitely not imaginary, but I see a square root over 5. What do I do? Well, what I would probably do is check this on my calculator just to make sure that it doesn't have a repeating decimal, or just to make sure that it doesn't terminate. Now I know that this isn't going to work because there is square root of 10 is an irrational number. The square root of 10 is 3.16227766, and it goes on and on and on forever. So this would be it's definitely a real number. It's not imaginary, and we would call this type of number, sorry, irrational. Okay. Oh, sorry. I put my check mark in the wrong box. Irrational. The reason it's irrational is because of 10. Now, one thing, complex, all numbers. So, and you don't have to worry about this. Don't worry about complex. That's something we'll talk about later. So this is irrational because of the square root of 10, and it is real. Okay, what about 7 1/3? 7 1/3. Well, you could put this in on your calculator, but I know 1/3 is repeating. 7 1/3 is 7.333 repeating. It goes on forever. So that means that this is rational and real. Okay, rational and real. Now, just to save time, what do you guys think about question this one, the square root of -4? Keyword -4, square root. What do you guys think?
I think negative and negative is plus.
You're right later on, like when you take a negative multiplied by a negative, but what did we learn about negative square roots? What is
Imaginary.
Yes, exactly. Imaginary. Perfect. I means imaginary. This we'll talk about later as well. But I means imaginary, so that one's imaginary. Now, this is a tricky one. This is not actually, this is a pretty unfortunate question. I wish it was a little bit more straightforward for you, because you guys might not even know what E is, which you don't need to know what E is. E is a constant in math. Let me see if I can erase my writing here. Let me just fill this out again. So irrational, real, rational, real, imaginary, imaginary. They're all complex. Don't worry about that. This guy here, E. E is a constant like pi. E on your calculator, let me just, I used to remember what E was when I was a young lad. E is 2.71828818 ... So it goes on forever. What do you guys think? If E is 2.71828818 and it's not repeating, it goes on forever. What do you guys think?
Irrational.
Irrational, perfect, and real. Whew, there you go. Honestly, guys, I wouldn't worry about this too much for future tests. I know that this sounds a little complicated, but this is just kind of a little introduction to the course. I wouldn't stress out about this topic. Typically on a test or something, there's a question that gives you a number and it just says, is this number natural, whole, integer, say what it is. All right, that's pretty much it for today. We'll get into these properties tomorrow, but I strongly recommend that you guys tomorrow have a little look at the order of operations. In North America, we use BEDMAS. If you went to like a British school, you might use PEMDAS as the acronym. If you've never heard of this before, don't worry about it. We will we'll learn about this tomorrow. All right, guys, that's it for me today. It was nice meeting you. Mateb, Ali, Hoda, and Mona, thank you for
Nice
coming.
to meet you too. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.